welcome. We're excited to bring everybody here for this first of hopefully many of these webinars. My name is Becky Labret, and I'm the team lead for Lotus Launch Real Estate. And I have some amazing team members. And welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for being here and partnering with us on this.
Becky, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited to share this information with everybody.
We have planned to sell their properties next year, but are tied up in probate. And this seems to be a theme that's happening a lot. What does probate really mean in terms of process costs? What do homeowners and even potential buyers need to think about when they think about the word probate?
So right now we know that less than 12.7% of all homeowners in California have their homes in a trust. So if you are the 83% of people that don't have their homes in a trust, you are going to eventually, you or your family members are going to have to deal with what we call probate. It's basically a court supervised process of identifying and gathering the assets of a deceased person, then paying out their debts, liabilities, and all those other things. And whatever's left over, the crumbs that are left over, giving those to the family members. And the problem with it, again, is you're literally giving up control of everything that your family's worked so hard for over to the government, versus having it within your family and keeping it within the family. So you're going to spend tens of thousands of dollars. You're going to have to incur a lot of court costs. And the process itself can take months or years to go through. And so it's just an absolute nightmare. But the good news is that it's completely avoidable.
What is the difference between a will and a trust? I feel like sometimes they're used interchangeably. Help us understand the difference.
It's probably the number one question that I get, Becky, is, Tim, do I need a trust or do I need a will? And the answer is, if you live here in California, you need both. Because unfortunately, a will does not protect your assets from probate. Only a trust does. And the unfortunate aspect of this, and I'm going to ask everybody on this webinar tonight to make sure that if you have a family member or a friend that you know has a will, ask them if they also have a trust. Because what happens is families say, oh, mom and dad have a will, grandma and grandpa have a will. And then they're notified that those property, their assets are now in probate, and then they got to go through that process, not realizing that they needed it in a trust. So it's one of those things where people hear wills all the time on television and TV shows. They don't understand what a trust is. But just for this purposes, please understand that if you live here in California, you need both. Why do I need an estate plan? Before they even say what's the difference between a trust and a will, why do I need an estate plan? And so we've talked about some of these. We talked about avoiding probate. But here's some of the other benefits too. Reducing your estate taxes. Again, protecting your beneficiaries, your loved ones, your mom, your dad, your spouse, your children, your grandchildren. Protecting your assets. Those are the things that you work so hard for. Your home, your stocks, your bonds, your IRAs, 401ks, everything that you have like that. Protecting your health. Now, here's one thing I want to hammer it away, and this is a serious thing here too, is when COVID hit, we had so many families that didn't have healthcare directives in place. And people need to have your healthcare directives in place. I actually do a lot of business with people that just hire us to do healthcare directives with power of attorney. So they can make sure that if, God forbid, they're ever incapacitated, they're in the hospital, they can have someone advocating on their behalf via healthcare directives. So the healthcare professionals will know what your wishes are, and they're not making decisions based on something that might go against your wishes. So understand that it's super important that what we're talking about is just not protecting your money, but it's protecting your health. And then also, lastly, protecting your privacy. As you know, as a real estate professional, Becky, it's public record to look up people's deeds. I can look up a grant deed of anybody, and I can see who owns that property if their name's on it, But if they have that in a trust, I can't identify who those people are. And especially if you have a trust name that, when we help our clients create trust, you can create whatever name you want. Now, you could call it the Tim Yates Family Trust, or I could call it, come up with any crazy thing I can come up with, the name of a band or whatever, the Beatles, trust. I come up with any name I want, and people won't know who that is. So it does help protect your privacy as well, if that's an important component of your life.
One question is, can somebody prepare their own living trust?
Yes, the answer is absolutely yes. And to me, there's good and bad with that. It wasn't that long ago that people had one option, and that was to go down to your local, law firm office, and spend thousands and thousands of dollars, to get it done. Now, with the age of the internet now, you've got a lot of websites like LegalZoom and things like that that you can do it yourself, and those are fine. They're affordable, but the issue that I see a lot of, though, is a lot of times people come to me after the fact asking me to review their documents that they prepared themselves. And then it ends up costing them twice as much, or 3 times as much, because if they just came to us at the beginning, we're going to make sure it's done correctly. And then, we work with them to make sure everything's done. They say, yeah, Tim, it's green light, boom. We work as a team, and we're off we go. But when people do it themselves, God forbid you check the wrong box, you order the wrong forms. A lot of times people order an estate plan, but it doesn't include their healthcare directives or their power of attorney or their HIPAA waivers. And then they don't even know that. They're not even aware of that. So yes, people can go on, create their own estate plans, which is, I'm happy that people can have that option.
But thank you again. And our team, once again, is Lotus Launch, and we're with eXp, and happy to serve you guys in any way. And we hope you all have a great evening. Thank you so much.